Liverpool vs Everton, a Merseyside derby after a Champions League game at 12:30 p.m. Thankfully, it's at Anfield, but it's the type of game where Liverpool would usually drop points. The season so far has been very weird. When we score plenty of goals, we end up conceding plenty of goals. When we struggle to score, we usually keep a clean sheet. That's why so far this season, we've won 4-2, 3-2, 1-0, 1-0 and 3-2 so far this season. I just want one normal game where we're cruising the game and we don't need a last minute winner in the game to actually get the 3 points. The Merseyside Derby is definitely not a game that usually happens where Liverpool are cruising. This is either a late winner or a draw usually, but this year will be different. From Everton's point of view, David Moyes actually has them playing well. They lost to Leeds initially, which was a very poor result, but they've bounced back well. A win against Brighton, Macclesfield in the Cup, Wolves and a draw against Aston Villa means they have 7 points so far this season. Not a bad return. In this video, I'm going to break down the exact lineup Liverpool should play, how they can break down Everton in 3 different ways, and give my final prediction for the game at the end. Stick around because it might just surprise you. Let's get straight into the starting 11. Starting in goal, it's of course Alisson Becker. I actually think, even though he's not had much to do this season, he has been quietly brilliant. Against Atletico Madrid, the 2 goals that we conceded were freak goals. The first one, he had Griezmann right in front of him, which I'm shocked it wasn't given offside. The second one took a wicked deflection of Alexis McAllister. So Alisson couldn't really do anything with those 2 goals in terms of his distribution, in terms of the way he comes off his line, the way he claims balls from corners and crosses. He has been excellent. Going at right back, obviously Liverpool have the 3 options: Jeremy Frimpong, Connor Bradley and Dominic Szoboszlai. Inside, I really want to see Dominic Szoboszlai play here, but I don't think it will be him, which means it's between Connor Bradley and Jeremy Frimpong. If you go by the Burnley cameo, then Bradley was excellent. But if you go by the game in the Champions League, then Frimpong was way better. But in my opinion, against an Everton, where I don't think Jack Grealish is very fast, I actually think Connor Bradley will be starting this one because he has a better connection with Mohamed Salah so far. And Frimpong will learn that connection. He will improve. But for now, I actually think it's going to be Connor Bradley. Moving to the centre-back duo, I don't think they need a rest just yet. So it's going to be Ibrahima Konate. And it's of course going to be Virgil van Dijk. Both of them have been absolute colossus. Even in the Champions League game, Virgil van Dijk was my man of the match. He was absolutely brilliant in his aerial duels, in his defensive duels, in his ability to distribute the ball. At one point, I think he headed it and it was almost an assist for Mohamed Salah. That's how good he is at directing his headers to make sure Liverpool keep the ball. And as for Ibrahima Konate, his wide defending was excellent. His aerial duels were excellent. He was very dominant in his defending, and both the goals that we conceded were just very unlucky goals to concede. Going at left back, I know Andy Robertson has been playing quite recently, but it's going to go back to Milos Kerkez. Robertson had his time in the Champions League, played the full game mainly. So Milos Kerkez comes back in, and I think he's going to have a very good game here. He's growing in confidence. He's growing in that position that we have him in. And I think overall, you're going to see Milos Kerkez slowly improve in this position. Going into defensive midfield, it's of course Ryan Gravenberch. And wow. The Champions League game, the Burnley game, this guy's an absolute monster right now in the midfield. The way he opens his body up on that half turn, gets the ball moving forward, the way he was given freedom to push up in that Atletico Madrid game, he got involved in both of the goals that Liverpool scored initially, the way he was just breaking past Conor Gallagher in the midfield, it was absolutely brilliant to watch. And I still think there's some moments where he can improve defensively, especially the first goal. He could have been closer to Llorente, but even in his defensive game, he has improved so much, and he will only improve. We kind of forget how young he actually is. As for his partner, there's obviously 3 options here as well. Dominic Szoboszlai, then you have the Alexis McAllister option, and there's also Curtis Jones. But I don't think it's going to be Curtis Jones because he's just coming back from injury, and it's going to be a very high-octane game. And I actually don't think it's going to be Alexis McAllister either, because when you watch the midfield that played against Atletico Madrid, very strong in its duels, very comfortable in its passing ability, defensively very strong as well. So overall, I think the midfield trio will be the same. It's going to be Florian Wirtz in that number 10 position, and he had an excellent game against Atletico Madrid, created the most chances, took a lot of touches in the opposition box, and that's mainly because he had the athletic ability of Szoboszlai and Gravenberch behind him, so he didn't have to do too much in terms terms of his defensive work. Even still, he works incredibly hard off the ball, but I really want to see him play in those half spaces, collect the ball, and you could already see that he had that chemistry with Alexander Isak up front straight away. It was absolutely brilliant to watch. There were 3 moments where Wirtz found Isak in a great position and it ended up in a brilliant opportunity for Liverpool. At right wing, of course, Mohamed Salah, and he's growing into this season. He really is. The Atletico Madrid game was his best performance of the season so far, really attacking his opponents, using his strength, attacking the inside of the box because he had a fullback that was overlapping him, because the midfielders were supporting him. Szoboszlai was getting on that side of the pitch, and that is why Salah was able to attack the inside of the pitch, get the ball to Gravenberch, get the ball on the other side of the pitch and finish off his chance. And that's what we want to see more from Mohamed Salah. At left wing, there's a question of bringing back Rio Ngumoa. There's a question of Hugo Ekitike, who can actually play there as well. And of course, Cody Gakpo. I think it's a bit too early to allow Ngumoa to play in a Merseyside derby that is so important. I think Hugo Ekitike will not be the left winger in this position. It's going to be Cody Gakpo again. I thought he was better in the last game, but there's still a lot more that he needs to do. Especially when we're playing a low block, especially when we're trying to break a team down. He needs to be more comfortable in possession. He needs to stop just thinking about cutting inside on his rifle. Use the overlap, brother. Go on the outside, please. Try to go on the outside and get a cross in. Every single time he's got tunnel vision towards that right hand side, cutting inside. It becomes so obvious that is what he's going to do. He gets stopped, but we need him to develop different ways to attack a defense, and it's definitely something Arne Slot will work with him on. Going up front, of course, there's the 2 options of Isak or Ekitike. I don't think it's going to be Alexander Isak. He played 60 minutes on the weekday. He definitely needs a bit of a rest so that he doesn't get injured. I think he's the more likely option to come off the bench, and he'll get minutes in the Carabao Cup. So Hugo Ekitike will be leading the line. And one thing I would really want to see from Ekitike that we saw from Isak is please attack the centre-backs. Get on the last line. Get towards the box. What happens is sometimes Ekitike drops back so deep. He gets into Florian Wirtz's space, and the defenders just chase these two in this position here. And there's no one actually attacking the box. We need him to be attacking the box. We need him to get closer to the box. I love the link-up play when he comes deeper, but once you've done that, attack the box. You're the striker. We need bodies in the middle, and hopefully Hugo Ekitike does that more when he sees Alexander Isak doing the same thing and he gets himself in the box. Now let's look at 3 ways Liverpool can break down Everton. First of all, this is going to sound so simple, but get the ball in the box. Just get crosses into the box, because without Branthwaite, Tarkowski and Michael Keane are not the best at their box defending. And when you add the fact that Jordan Pickford isn't the tallest and he doesn't really defend that box really well, we need to get this ball out wide towards Salah, towards Conor Bradley, who's going to be pushed up. Get those crosses in and make Hugo Ekitike attack the box. Make that ball get in the box and maybe a couple of deflections come out towards Wirtz, come out towards Szoboszlai, and they get the opportunities on the edge of the box to either shoot or to create an even better opportunity for someone like Cody Gakpo. What I've seen so far from Everton is that when that ball gets inside the box, there's times where they either lose their striker, where they're not defending the box really well in terms of their clearances, so the ball comes back out to them. In the Wolves game especially, there was a couple of crosses coming out from out wide. The striker was making the run in behind the defense and he was able to finish off his opportunity. And I know it sounds so simple, but Cody Gakpo simply doing his cut inside and a back post run by Mohamed Salah. This cross comes in, the fullback doesn't watch what Salah's doing. He's in the back of this area here and he finishes off his opportunity. And Salah can do the same for Cody Gakpo running this way, and Salah gets the ball in from the back post and Liverpool score. That is definitely one way where you can cause Everton problems. And I know it sounds so simple, but sometimes, you know what? You just got to do the simple stuff. It doesn't need to be intricate. Second of all, you don't play the occasion, you play the game. This is a Merseyside derby. What Everton want is long balls into Beto, get him to break it down for Ndiaye or for Grealish, and that can cause Liverpool problems. What you want to do is make sure Van Dijk and Konate are winning these aerial duels against Beto, who's been a tricky customer previously, and then you get the ball down on the floor. Szoboszlai into Gravenberch into Konate, into Bradley, and then you start playing football on the floor. You don't want to get sucked into their game where Konate is booting it up to Ekitike, and then Tarkowski is booting it back up to Beto. When that gets into the aerial duels, as much as Liverpool can battle, it suits Everton's game more than it does Liverpool. And once we slowly build up the play, respectfully, Liverpool's players are much better than Everton's in terms of breaking the lines, in terms of being comfortable in possession. And when you have Gay and if it's Irabunum here, they're not going to be catching Wirtz getting inside that half space. They're not going to be able to stop Ekitike and Salah. When the ball's being played on the floor and you're playing proper football, that is when you can break down this Everton team. But if you get sucked into the occasion, which has happened previously in Merseyside derbies, then you're asking for Everton to cause you problems. And then finally, counter press. Get onto your mans. Be very strong in your press, because if you're strong in your press and you win this ball back quickly, what happens in now is that you have a 4v4 with Wirtz, Ekitike, Salah and Gakpo against their 4, and when it's like that, you open up spaces. If Everton are going to play a deep block, if they're going to have many men back, the higher you win that ball back, the less players you need to get past. The higher you win that ball back, the more likely you break that last defensive line and you can win the ball back. So I would definitely recommend for Wirtz, Ekitike, Gakpo and Salah to be really high up, then Szoboszlai to be very high up, Gravenberch. Everyone needs to be high up to be able to win that ball back and be able to sustain pressure on Everton, especially in the first 20 minutes of the game. Let them know that they are in a game. The quicker you break that deadlock, the less likely you have to wait until the 90th minute again to win the game. And that is what I want to see. If there's some players that you need to watch out for in the Everton team, is Jack Grealish on this side. He's not going to really take Conor Bradley down the line, but what happens is when he has this ball, the other scary player that they have is Dewsbury-Hall. And if Jack Grealish and Dewsbury-Hall can start playing the ball and Gravenberch gets dragged out from his position and Dewsbury-Hall finds space here, if Jack Grealish can find him, Dewsbury-Hall can cause problems in these areas here, and then Jack Grealish runs off him. They have very good chemistry together, so they're definitely two players to watch out for. And the other one is, of course, Iliman Ndiaye. The guy's a baller. He's an absolute baller. When he gets the ball, his dribbling ability can get past one or two mans, win some free kicks, and then Everton can pump the ball into the box. That is what you want to prevent. We're going to have to be very good in our set-piece defending. We're going to have to be aerially dominant, expect a lot of battles on the pitch. But as long as you come here with 100% mentality to win this game, then you can win your aerial battles, you can win your duels, and then inevitably you can win the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of my Liverpool vs Everton preview. Don't forget to like the video. You've been enjoying these previews, so comment down below your predictions, because my prediction for the game is a 3-1 Liverpool victory. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know whenever I upload. Thanks for watching and peace.